Hi, OJ. Sometimes evil doesn't come knocking on your door. It grows quietly inside your hunger. It starts when your stomach groans louder than your prayers. When you've watched others rise while you've stayed crawling in the dust. That's how it began for me. A boy from Kasoa who wanted more than life was willing to give. I didn't steal. I didn't beg. I went looking for shortcuts. And what I found was a shrine, a place where the walls breathe and the ground drinks blood. They say wealth is sweet, but no one told me it could taste like my own mother's tears. So tonight, OJ, I'm not here to ask for forgiveness. I'm here to tell you how I became Kojo Wire, the man who sold his bloodline for gold. OJ, tonight I want to speak to you like a man who has seen the face of darkness and smiled at it. Not for redemption, not for pity, but so you will understand how greed can turn even a son into a beast. It all began right here in Kasoa, where the streets never sleep and the nights hum with restless ambitions. Every evening, when the sun sinks behind the row of kiosks and unfinished building, the boys came out with gold chains flashing, girls giggling beside them, and cars roaring past like thunder. No one asks questions here. If you have money, you are respected. If you don't, you are dust beneath their shoes. In that same neighborhood lived two of us, me, Kojo, and my brother in struggle, Kwame, not their real names. We were both poor ones, the forgotten ones. While others prayed CDs in clubs and wore designer sneakers, we sold sachet water and did odd jobs to survive. People mocked us, girls laughed at us, and even the little children called us broke boys. But you see, OJ, poverty has a way of making even the cleanest heart rot from the inside. One hot afternoon, as we sat under a broken street light, I turned to my friend and said, I heard of one woman in Gomwa, Nyanyano. They call her Eno. They say if you go to her, your life will change forever. He looked at me with suspicion. Kojo, that woman is dangerous. I nodded slowly. But hunger spoke louder than fear. I had already made up my mind. The night we went, the road was quiet. Too quiet. Her compound was surrounded by tall trees, and the air felt heavy, like it carried secrets. Her mud house was marked with white chalk and strange symbols. Pots filled with black water lined the wall, and from somewhere inside came the faint sound of a woman humming. Then she appeared, small, old, and shriveled, but her eyes glowed like fire in the dark. She smiled. So you want to be kings? I nodded before I could think. Then listen, she said. Her voice crawled like a smoke. Wealth does not come cheap. It comes with blood. Are you ready to pay the price? Kwame trembled beside me. I could feel his fear, but mine had turned into desperation. And I said yes. That night, she took us into her shrine, a small room smelling of incense and blood. There was a clay pot covered with red cloth. Do not sleep, she warned. When the pot speaks, your destiny will be revealed. The night dragged on. Crickets sang. Shadows moved, though no one walked. Around midnight, the pot began to hum, a deep sound that made the walls tremble. Then the red cloth slipped off, and the light that came from inside burned my eyes. And OJ, it showed us faces. My mother, Kwame's mother, Tears streamed down their cheeks as Eno's voice filled the air. These are your sacrifices. Spill their blood, and riches will follow you for 10 years. Refuse, and your curse will rot your bones. Kwame screamed, no, she's my mother, but I stared in silence. Every insult I had endured, and every night I had gone to bed hungry, came flooding back. And when morning came, I made my choice. Kwame begged me not to. He said, Kojo, we can't do this. God would never forgive us. I looked at him and said, God doesn't feed the poor. Eno smiled when I returned alone. Her laughter was like dry leaf burning. She gave me a gun, and I used it. That night, the shrine shook, the clay pot shattered, and smoke filled the room. I felt something enter me, cold, powerful, and intoxicating. Kwame screamed my name, but his voice broke in half. Eno turned to him and said, you have chosen weakness, then weakness shall be your portion. She blew a red powder in his face. He fell and began to shake. When he rose again, his mouth moved, but no sound came. She had stolen his voice. And from that night, OJ, everything changed. Money found me like magic. Cars, houses, girls, everything I dreamt of came rushing to me. The same people who mocked me now bowed when I passed. They called me Kojo Wire because money seemed to flow through me like electricity. But every Thursday, my mother came, her ghost, tears in her eyes, dollars in her hand. She would drop them before me and vanish. Each time she did, my chest tightened, but I told myself it was the price of greatness. Kwame became a ghost of himself, his eyes hollowed, his mouth forever silent. I never looked his way again. Why should I? He had chosen poverty, and I had chosen power. The years passed, and my fame grew. I bought lands, cars, and respect. Men feared me, women worshipped me, but inside something rotted. Every Thursday, I saw my mother's face, older, sadder, colder. Her tears never stopped. And the money started to smell like blood. Then one night, she spoke for the first time. Kojo, your 10 years are almost done. I went back to Eno, shaking like a leaf. Extend it for me, I begged. I can't lose this life, she smiled. Then bring me Kwame, your friend. His blood will open the door again. I hesitated for a moment. Then greed won. I went to Kwame's house with gifts, with smiles, with lies. I told his mother I had found a powerful healer in Accra that could cure him. They trusted me. They gave him to me. But when I reached the edge of Nyanyano, I found only ashes. Eno's shrine had burnt down. Her pots were shattered. Her idols broken. The wind howled like laughter. The deal was over. That night I lost my mind. I tore my clothes and ran through the streets, screaming my sins. I killed her. I used my own mother for money. Every city I own drips with blood. People gathered, shocked. Mothers pulled their children close. Men spat and cursed my name. Kwame's voice broke through the crowd, strong, loud, alive. For the first time in 10 years, he could speak. And he told them everything. How he went to Eno, the pot, the blood, the sacrifice. But OJ, there was no redemption for me. The spirits had already marked me. That night, I walked into the lagoon at Winneba, not to cleanse myself, but to disappear. The waves swallowed my whole, but they never give me peace. I tried to commit suicide several times in the lake, but never. Death is nowhere to be found. So if you ever see a rich man whose shadows move before him, whose eyes never close, remember this story. Because not all wealth shines, OJ. Some wealth bleed, and mine was baptized in my mother's blood. This is your anonymous OJ, and if you are new here, I would like you to like, subscribe, share, comment, and hype this channel, and tell somebody about your anonymous OJ. I'll see you in our next confession.